See everybody. Really awesome to be here because I have the most fun panel of the week. Sorry, it just is. Because we get to talk about all things Las Vegas. Okay, so we're going to sit down and we're going to dive right in. Really awesome to have this stellar group here. We have Cyler, our host extraordinaire. Give it up for the Wynn Resorts. The leading luxury hospitality property on the Strip.
Largest five-star resort in the world.
Absolutely. And we have Kate Wick, who is essentially the de facto CMO of Las Vegas, if I may say so. I would like that job. That is really, really cool.
Dream job, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just spend 30 seconds on what roles each of you have, and we're going to dive right into some video.
Yeah, great. Again, Cyler Pennington, SVP Marketing here at Wynn. So just run all marketing initiatives across the property, both our transient guests and casino as well. And yeah, excited to be here. Excited Super Bowl is here finally. I've been in market since 2010, and I remember when we couldn't talk about Super Bowl, we couldn't talk about this stuff, and just the remarkable transition to destination led by Kate and team and a lot of other folks in this town have put in a lot of blood, sweat, tears to get this event and many other sports events here. So it's excited to see it come to fruition.
Fantastic. Kate?
Kate Wick. Yes, I'd love to say I'm the CMO of Las Vegas. Official title is CMO for the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. And we are the marketing and sales arm for Las Vegas. So we work closely with the NFL to do the bid to bring it to town, F1 to bring them to town. We create those magical campaigns, what happens here stays here, things like that. So we are literally the marketing arm for this destination. And it is absolutely a dream job.
I mean, I don't know if there's two busier people besides maybe Roger Goodell in Vegas this week, and they're on our stage. That's
probably accurate.
Yeah. Don't ask any Vegas logos for anything right now.
Exactly.
Any other weekend.
I think Kate told me this morning that she told her family you can see me in 10 days. You know, food's in the...
I don't have tickets. I don't have rooms. I don't, another weekend for sure.
Yeah, guys, seriously. But before we get into F1, obviously it's a marquee event that launched in November. This is about what really happens in Vegas and how Vegas has become the sports entertainment capital of the world. Now, for history, I grew up in Southern California, in Los Angeles. I used to come here as a kid, and then into my, obviously, teens and 20s. This is what sports was in Vegas. Big boxing matches, the Kings playing outdoor ice hockey, March Madness on a weekend with your buddies, and some rodeos, and kind of like, for the most part, that was it. Wow, where we've come. And so you and your team have kind of made it a mandate to put Vegas on the map as the destination for sports and entertainment marketing. There's clearly a business reason for that. Can you talk about the evolution of that? And was there a pivotal moment in history, or a couple moments in the city's history that really transcend that and took it off?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a couple things worth noting is, yes, we've exploded recently as the sports capital of the world, which we're very proud of that title. Historically, we've been known as the entertainment capital of the world, and we're seeing, actually quite literally this week, those two things collide with Taylor Swift and NFL. There's no better manifestation of those two things together. But we historically have been a sports town. I think since the 50s, you talked about boxing, we have had every major match here in town. We have NASCAR, we have PBR, we have NFR. We have really built this town and the evolution beyond just gaming with sports. But I would say it's probably 3 milestone events in recent history that has enabled us to explode the way we've exploded. One is in 2016 we built T-Mobile Arena, which allowed us to bring in Vegas Golden Knights, our NHL expansion team. That was monumental for this destination, our very first own professional team. which wonderful being a local to have that, but wearing the hat of my responsibility is to drive visitation to this town. The number of home games for hockey is unprecedented. And so we're constantly bringing visitors in because it's a bucket list to get on that. The second major milestone from a recent perspective is bringing in a WNBA team. Our Aces team, not only did we bring them in 2018, we have just won back-to-back world champions. So unbelievable mic drop
The
for
Golden
Las
Knights
Vegas.
won the Stanley Cup.
And, of course, but let's prop up our
And
fans because they deserve it.
Edmonton's win streak last night. So that's good.
That's right, that's right. And I think the third, and really why we're all here today, is the construction of Allegiant Stadium, which opened in July of 2020. That enabled Oakland Raiders to become the Las Vegas Raiders and have their first season here, which, interesting enough, was fanless because it was during COVID. But look what we are today. We could not host a Super Bowl in this town without the infrastructure. So really the infrastructure of T-Mobile Arena and Allegiant Stadium enabled us to really blossom to where we are today.
So, Kate, you're obviously very much about brand Vegas as a destination and the opportunities. And now you look on the property side and being specific for one brand. Talk about how the advent of the sports world has impacted the things that you've done at Wynn to grow and capture market share and to drive the business metrics that you're looking for.
Yeah, sure. Obviously from a transactional perspective, revenue-wise, we care about heads and beds. We care about gaming revenue and sports. It's funny, Vegas is, haven't been here, I've been here since 2010, and even in the time period I've been here, there's people who've been here a lot longer, it just constantly reinvents itself. And so you have a kind of a version of the aughts and the teens, and now sports has just completely taken over. And every single event drives destination awareness, it drives revenue to us at the property level, it creates an excuse for people to have an incremental trip here, which is, kind of helps us do our marketing for us in some sense. And it's not just the big marquee venues or a big events and our hometown teams. It's like we were talking about earlier, there's a random weekend in June where we have a McGregor fight, we have the NFL draft, and we have a Brazil Copa Americana match at Allegiant. So, and those are all the same night, right? And June, historically, the summer used to be a more difficult time period for us because it's hotter here, right? And so these events have just filled up the calendar to a point where there's just no lull. Obviously, we have still huge demand during Super Bowl, during F1, but it's, all around, almost every single date in the calendar is filling up with some marquee entertainment, whether it's a Taylor Swift concert or Justin Timberlake or whoever else, and then the Sphere, and then sports in between. So it's been phenomenal for us from a revenue perspective, and with the proliferation of sports betting and kind of the more acceptance around gaming has only kind of created a flywheel where, yes, people can bet in their local market in a lot of different states, but they actually want to come here and have the best experience possible. And so we just see no slowdown in interest or business specifically around the vertical.
I think we've been incredibly intentional as a destination to drive this evolution. So yes, it was working with public funds to make sure that we had the infrastructure and the architecture in place. It's working to make sure we're securing the bids for all these major events that we're talking about, these marquee events. And then sort of that second tier level of events, making sure that we're bringing them to town. So there's always a reason for our visitors to come back and fill up our 156,000 hotel rooms in this destination, the most hotel rooms in any destination in the US. So it's this constant need of programming to make sure that we're intentional about driving this. And if we can, I actually would like to play a spot that we launched about 4 years ago, but this was us being intentional on seizing that sports audience to help drive visitation for the destination. So that really speaks to the magic of what Las Vegas brings to the table. It's not just the Super Bowl. It's not Super Bowl LVIII. It is the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, the first ever. It wasn't just another Formula One race. It was Formula One in Las Vegas. It's NCAA Final Four championships. For the first time, that will be in Las Vegas in 2028. We're super excited about it. It's this notion that these brands and leagues want to bring their events here. They will get higher attendance, they will get better turnout, They will make more money being here. It's a win all the way around, and that's the ecosystem that we are actively trying to make sure that we maintain and grow.
Cool, so let's just spend just maybe a couple minutes before we dive into all things Super Bowl related to talk about F1. That's obviously a big business decision to bring that as a marquee event, an international event, an incredible undertaking from infrastructure, but you also had all the relationships with the locals and the businesses. Can you talk about a little bit about what your team did as far as being able to be a part of bringing that here, and obviously now it's going to be here for many years. And then, Cyler, if you could do a follow on what it meant to you in your brand, how you guys activated, and maybe what you're excited for next year's Grand Prix.
Sure.
So we, the LVCVA, worked closely with F1 Corporate to basically bring this vision to life. And in going around and talking with all of our property partners, we needed to make sure that everybody was on board for this, because the vision was to basically take Las Vegas Boulevard, that gets 42 million visitors a year, and turn it into the fastest speed track in the world. And we did that. It required months of paving and construction, and it was a headache for locals. I'm not going to lie, it was a headache. But the payoff was unbelievable. It basically turned November into the best November in history for us, the second best month in history for Las Vegas. And it put a global spotlight on the destination. The team that was up here before us talking about the numbers behind NFL and saying, it's about 17, 18 million per game. For context, F1 is 70 million viewers per race, not even for finals, per race. Cumulative, they had almost 2 billion viewers for their season. And so Las Vegas, as the 23rd race in their full-on season, it put a global, unprecedented spotlight on this destination, and it essentially was a week-long commercial. We were the most watched race in the 2023 season.
Yeah. No, it was a phenomenal event, and I think to your point around there's a tremendous amount of strategic thinking that goes into putting on these events, down to the point of F1. Again, that was the week before Thanksgiving, right? A very historically low visitation week for us, right? So that's not by accident, and so it helps fill a lot of these dates that we need a lot of help with, and that's why we have such good partners at the city level. At the property level, we obviously selfishly trying to get as much share of voice around those events and be as culturally relevant as possible. And so, whether it's, we turned the event into a whole week, so we called it Ultimate Race League. We had a Concours d'Elegance. You guys saw in the video, there's a huge, there's about $500 million worth of cars out on our golf course the weekend before. And then we transitioned every single day. We had 3 or 4 different events. Probably the most marquee was a partnership we worked on with Netflix, and we did their first live sport event with their full swing golfers and their Drive to Survive drivers, and that was a huge success for us. So, all around, we're the luxury partner in the destination. We cater to the high net worth individuals, and so for us, F1, we were a founding partner. There was just instant alignment with that race to try and drive as much awareness around our product as possible. And it's no different for Super Bowl. We're doing a ton of events here, and we're really excited for the energy that's in the destination. I'll say it's a lot of fun when everyone's here for one thing. You can instantly kind of tell, and people are in a great mood to have a good time. And so from our perspective, we just try and capture as much of that as possible and work on as many partnerships as possible to elevate our brand within the conversation.
Fantastic. Okay, so now let's spend the remainder of our time talking about why we're all here, right? Super Bowl LVIII. I remember when I first found out that it was in Vegas, it seemed like eons ago, but actually there's a little bit of a story about how quickly it was announced. The time it was announced until today actually is, Kate said, the shortest amount of time between announcement and activation. But let's talk about the Super Bowl. I'd love to understand what went into from bid process with the NFL to securing the games, some of the strategic decisions you made to actually sponsor the Super Bowl and what that did to your brand marketing opportunities. And then Cyler, clearly the amount of amazing activations you have, from luxury brand activations to some big name talent. Give everyone kind of a flavor of what goes on behind the scenes of hosting the Super Bowl in your city.
So yes, this is the first time we're hosting Super Bowl thanks to Allegiant Stadium. We won the bid in December of 2021. That is literally the shortest planning cycle for any Super Bowl. Usually they're given a 5-year window and plenty of time to plan. We stepped up to the plate because there was a conflict with actually New Orleans being able to host it with Mardi Gras this week. So we stepped up, and we actually will be the only destination that will have held all 3 of the NFL marquee events. So Pro Bowl, we've held twice, draft, and now this week we're hosting Super Bowl. So really proud of that accolade. And so we work really closely with NFL to make sure that their events are spectacular. And clearly they have a playbook on how they do this. This is the 58th time they've done it, but it's the first time for Las Vegas. And Las Vegas does not go by somebody else's playbook. So our job, and quite literally my job, was to figure out how do we make Las Vegas the hero in this entire week? How do we show up? And it's not just about Super Bowl 58, like I said earlier, it is about the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Like you saw from F1, we are the backdrop. We want to make sure that we're showing through in every single camera shot, etc. That is intentional. For Super Bowl, for example, working very closely with CBS to make sure that they have tons of footage to run in-game, pre-game, leading up to it. They've got their stage on Bellagio Fountains where they're shooting over 18 shows live this whole week. We're fueling them to tell the story of Las Vegas. And one thing that's very unique is we are actually the first destination to be an official partner of the NFL. And I'd actually like to play our final spot. It's our TV commercial that we're running up to the Super Bowl that positions Las Vegas as an official partner, but more importantly, positions us as the destination of celebration, because that's what we are.
Coincidence that Ocho Cinco's number backwards is 58?
There you go. There you go.
You can claim it if it was. No, I think, again, excessive celebration is kind of the overall theme. And that's, I'm sure some of us are official partners with the NFL, some of us aren't. There's various lanes you have to go in with that. For F1, we were an official partner. For NFL, we're not. And so we kind of took a different strategic tack and tried to plan as many fun after parties leading into the excessive celebration as we possibly could. So we have Grant's Beach here. We have Shaq's Funhouse. We have the Sports Illustrated party. We have a variety of private parties that can't talk about. Might be Snoop and some other people, but hey, there was a release on that one. But yeah, so some of it is just really about how do we have as much fun with and entertain the level of clientele in the building and make sure everyone has a great experience while they're here from a service perspective and from an entertainment perspective. And I think the whole destination is going to do that for sure. It's going to be an amazing week, and yeah.
Questions from the crowd? Yes, Mike from Monster Energy in the back.
Thanks for the intro.
Say it really loud.
Yeah, so question kind of for both of you. Number one, Formula One, Super Bowl, does it get better? You alluded to a little bit. Is it baseball? What are you looking forward to in the future? And then also, is Premier Property, how do you be bigger and better than everybody else on the strip who's vying for those same kind of experiences?
We haven't been shy that our goal is to be in the regular rotation for hosting a Super Bowl. Formula One, we did sign a 3-year deal, but the intent is that it'll be a permanent event on our calendar annually. And we are constantly adding events to this destination in terms of major marquee sporting events. So we're not going to take the foot off the gas there.
No, and I think from a property perspective, get 1% better every day. I mean, it's kind of cliche, but we look into every single event. How can we be authentically engaged here? For F1, the first call was to Lewis Hamilton, right? Like, we're going to have a huge, deep integration with you as the biggest, athlete in that space. And that's what we did. We had his non-alcoholic tequila, a huge pop-up. We had his retail pop-up with Murakami. Obviously, he had a lot of other activations, meet and greets throughout property. So it wasn't just an influencer agreement with Lewis, hey, come post from our restaurant. It's, hey, what was the pull-through, and how do we create an experience with that individual and multiple touch points throughout the property. And so we did that with Sotheby's as well with an auction. So for us, with every event, luckily a lot of these we have a lot of time to work with, and it's just phone calls, creating partnerships. Where can we find three-way deals, et cetera, et cetera. To be frank, we don't have huge media budgets. We're not a P&G, right? And so a lot of it comes down to how do we create a unique experience with a partner together, and that we both have a 1 + 1 = 3 type win-win.
And that's what this town does. It's only Vegas experiences. You can't have this type of experience in any other destination across the world. And that's what our property partners excel at, is figuring out these new experiences for consumers to make it the bucket list destination to see their favorite team or event, etc.
Awesome. Well, on behalf of the Brand Innovators Strategy Group, my awesome team, and my partner Rick Song, who is here, what a privilege to be able to moderate this. Let's hear it for our city host, Kate Wick, and our venue host, Cyler. Thank you so much.
Thank you.